But let's get into some suburbs now. So for under 1.7 million, I previously was talking about under 1.5 with Belmore, home of the Bulldogs. I'm a Bulldogs fan, if anyone doesn't know. But that doesn't exist anymore. So under 1.5 million in Belmore for the right dwelling does not exist anymore. And I was talking about that only a mere few months ago. But that's completely changed now. It does not exist. But under 1.7 still does. And the suburb I'll mention is Canterbury. So Canterbury is obviously in the Canterbury Bankstown, should I say, local council region. Canterbury's about, depending on where you are, about 10 or so Ks away from the CBD, directly west of the CBD. It is bounded basically by the Cooks River. So it is on the new metro line as well, Canterbury. So, I mean, really, you got a lot of homes like this in Canterbury, brick veneer and tile bungalows, very common. You do still get some that are on larger lots above 450 metres squared, which is big for the inner west. And I mean, those will go for over $2 million. But you still get good, genuinely good homes well located in Canterbury like this for around 1.7 or so million. That number, by the time I do this next episode, will not exist. I can tell you that right now. But that's Canterbury, really. And it's a suburb, really, that's truly gentrifying. This is just an article of Domain. Canterbury, the battler suburb, luring Sydney's inner west trendies. What kind of happens with suburbs is that generally you have a spillover effect. So obviously Marrickville had the spillover effect probably 20 or so years ago, starting from Enmore, Newtown, Stanmore. Then it kind of went out to sort of Dulwich Hill, Helston Park, and now it's going into Canterbury, Campsie. So that's kind of how it kind of happens. That's how things gentrify. You have to have better neighbourhoods nearby. So that's kind of Canterbury. I mean, to give everyone an idea as well, Helston Park's next door, which is like $2.3 million. Ashbury's about $2 million, which is also next door as well. So I think it's a very underpriced suburb for where it is. That is Canterbury for under 1.7. Look, believe it or not, for under 2 million, it's actually surprising to say this, and it's just kind of had a little bit of a market dip at the moment. Not much of a dip, it's only like 5%, but for under 2 million, believe it or not, you can still pick up a place in Newtown. And for those that don't really know Newtown, really, it's probably one of the most famous trendy suburbs of Sydney. It's very well known for the Marlborough Hotel or Marley Bar, Bank Hotel. There's a number of other ones. It's very good for a kind of pub crawl, and there's a very alternate crowd that sort of run through here. But you can still pick up, I mean, I've seen a detached dwellings in Newtown for flat 2 mil, slightly under even, which is so rare. And I mean, Newtown's like, depending on where you are and what you're looking at, usually anywhere between 4 and 6K away from the CBD. So it's extremely close to CBD and borders literally RPA there. So Royal Prince Alfred Hospital and Sydney Uni. So, I mean, one of the most famous suburbs in Sydney. It's really the heart of the inner west. And you'll see just articles like this: Newtown, affordable inner city living with bohemian charm and diverse homes. So you can see just the crust pizza and the mural paintings. You get a lot of that sort of style in Newtown. It's very common. A lot of attached terrace kind of dwellings here too, but if you can get a detached one for $2 million or under, I think you're doing extremely well, especially that close to Sydney CBD. Very, very, very good demographics here. Very good fundamentals. You're not making a mistake paying, like, let's say, $2 million for a detached dwelling, especially somewhere like Newtown in Sydney. Let's get into under 2.5 million. And the suburb I'm going to mention is Five Dock. So Five Dock's obviously called Five Dock because originally there was 5 docks in Five Dock. That's the reason it was called that. Really, Five Dock's probably best known for being very close to the harbour. It is actually, some parts of it actually are harbourfront. Very close to Bay Run, very close to Hen and Chicken Bay. Very well located suburb in Sydney. It's only about 7 or so K away from the CBD, maybe 8. Straight west of CBD, and is on the harbour as well. Very well known for having a lot of bungalows and Federation homes, actually still in larger lots of about 400 to 600 metres squared, sometimes above. Mind you, the ones that are the largest style blocks will go for more than 2.5 million without a doubt. But you still are finding some that are, on the original, smaller kind of original lots for under 2.5 mil. I've even seen one above 400 metres squared, close to the 450 mark for around almost exactly 2.5 mil. And I mean, the land value alone of that is probably $2 million plus. So I mean, that is not almost, it is below replacement value, so land value plus the build value. But really, the thing about Five Dock is the location's one thing. You've obviously got the Great North Road running through it, but it's going to be pretty much one of the only harbourfront suburbs with a station on it. So Five Dock is harbourfront. It is on Hen and Chicken Bay. And the new Inner West Line, as you can see here, that is running out towards Parramatta, will have a station on it. So that is right in the middle of the Great North Road Centre as well, underground there. That is going to have a station. So the bays there it's really not kind of a suburban area. You could kind of argue it's Rozelle / Lilyfield, but it's not really a majorly suburban area. Five Dock is a majorly suburban area. So the only real other suburbs in the country that have, not in the country, but in Sydney, that have harbourfront and have a station, really the only two you could probably argue, because Milson's Point is one, but Milson's Point barely has any houses. It's probably really only, should I say, Waverton and Wollstonecroft, which are both Waverton and Wollstonecroft are like $4 million suburbs, to give you an idea. So what you're going to see in Five Dock is you're going to get very wealthy people starting to move in here. They will buy up the stock, and they will never sell it because they can literally get to Hunter Street in the middle of the CBD within probably about 8 minutes to 10 minutes or so. So you're going to start to get those people that move into Five Dock. Expect that to continue longer term as well. So that's Five Dock for under 2.5. Crazy to even say that. Look, for under 3 million, it's still crazy that these opportunities like that, mind you, this, and I've been talking about it for a little while, but this is starting to turn. By the time I do my next episode, I don't think this will be achievable anymore. Maybe just, but I'm not sure about that. And for under 3 million, I've got Neutral Bay. So it's probably one of Sydney's best located suburbs. Neutral Bay is also harbourfront to Sydney. It is in the lower North Shore. It occupies a beautiful pocket like this where you can see, obviously Jacaranda season, sort of October, November, particularly coming around, Harbour Bridge, harbour views from Neutral Bay. And I mean, Neutral Bay is only about 4K from the CBD. It's very close. Like, it's some parts of it are walking distance to North Sydney and all the, should I say, white collar district there as well. It's very close to Chatswood. It's close to Spit Junction. It's close to Brookvale. It's close to the CBD. It's near everything, really. It's beautiful. And it's got basically, it's like an old money sort of feel to it. So you can see on the left here, you get homes like this in Neutral Bay still. They're still on literally like quarter-acre blocks, no word of a lie. And it's also near all the jobs. So you'll see on the right there, St Leonard's. Neutral Bay is pretty much about a K to the southeast of that. So where all the major job hubs, Neutral Bay is, I kid you not, within like half an hour of all the major job hubs. Now, this isn't including the CBD, which is the biggest, obviously, but that's all the major job hubs you can see there. And particularly the big ones there, Parramatta, Macquarie Park, Chatswood, St Leonard's, Alexandria, Mascot, the CBD, those are mainly white-collar job hubs. So, I mean, that's a really important thing there as well. So it's old money, it's wealthy, it's near the CBD, it's very well located, close to very good schools, close to very wealthy suburbs. I mean, Mossman and Northbridge are like $5 million that literally neighbour it. And Cremorne as well, they neighbour it like $5 million. So, I mean, you can't go wrong buying a Neutral Bay. It's so underpriced. Like, if you were to pick something up even for a flat 3 million or even slightly over 3 million, but I'm seeing stuff detached under 3 million even at the moment still. Mind you, a trophy home like this is going to be like $20 million. So there are sales like that in Neutral Bay. So don't get confused, but to pick it up for like $3 million, it's just incredible. So that's my pick of under 3 million Neutral Bay in Sydney. Look, for under 3.5, I wanted to say Waverley, but I still think it's achievable. So Waverley is in the eastern suburbs as well, but I still think it is achievable just in Paddington. And now let me just be clear with Paddington, there are very few detached homes. Most of them are attached kind of terrace houses like this. There's very few. I have seen a detached home sell for under 3.5 million, and I think that was one of the best deals I've seen probably this year in Paddington. But Paddington, really, to give everyone an idea, it was originally Sydney's first slum. So in the times of the bubonic plague, more than 30% of Paddington actually had the plague, believe it or not. It was known as a very poor kind of area of Sydney, first slum. and they lived in all the sort of shacks, but they look like this today. So very commonly you'll see very well maintained, upmarket kind of looking attached dwellings is very common in Paddington. Some very wealthy people live in Paddington as well. Very common actually amongst childless couples or couples with only one child. Very, very popular amongst them. So, I mean, that's Paddington. And really, the demographics there are some of the strongest in the entire country. So if you just look here, this is Census 2021, and Paddington actually hasn't moved that much since 2021, maybe 15 to 20% at max. So you'll see personal, family, then household income there. Funny enough, Paddington, in terms of household income, is actually lower than a lot of suburbs, but the family income is one of the highest in the country, and personal is also. It's because of the dual income couples and also childless couples, and also a lot of the dwellings in Paddington, there's even some terraces that only have one bedroom, so solely on one income. But you'll see their personal income is probably the most important one, the top one. It's more than double the state average, and New South Wales is higher than the national average, to give you an idea. So look, Paddington really, rent can be very high continually in Paddington because people that live here have a lot of money. They're very, very high income earners. In Paddington, it's not the same as it was years and years ago. So, I mean, for someone wanting to buy a good long-term product, Paddington is probably one of the best. Now, you have to have a massive budget. You have to have $3.5 million or so, but very, very good buy. You can't go wrong here. It's got such strong demographics. One of Sydney's best long-term performing suburbs in that. Now, look, I'm going to get into any budget now. There's a few I wanted to say. I wanted to say Bellevue Hill. I want to say Point Piper, but I mean, it's probably only really really targeting, I'd say, or not only targeting, but speaking to a very small proportion of people, because both of those suburbs are like, I mean, Bellevue Hill's like $11 million now. Point Piper's like 25. So you're not really talking to many people that actually live there or can buy there. But the suburb I'll mention is close to the $4.5 million mark, and that suburb is North Bondi. Now, this is just Ben Buckler Headland. You can see how beautiful it is. That's just an overhead shot. That's kind of what it looks like. That, mind you, you're not getting anything on Ben Buckler Headland, especially if it's a house of probably under $10 million. So don't get confused. But there is the villagey part of North Bondi, just north of Bondi Beach, and a little bit in from Ben Buckler. We still are picking up stuff up for about $4.5 or so million to $5 million. And I know it sounds like a lot of money, but really it's like buying your Malibu, Beverly Hills of, should I say Los Angeles, or like an apartment overlooking maybe Central Park in New York, or it's like buying something, for example, like in Kensington of London. That's the equivalent that you're buying here, really. I mean, do I really need to say much of where it is? So this is just the location of it. You can see North Bondi there, right next to the world-famous Bondi Beach. Just north of it and west of it is obviously Bellevue Hill, Rose Bay, Dover Heights, which are all like 6 to 10 million. Well, Bellevue Hill is like $11 million now. So I mean, that's where North Bondi is. It's located near, I'd argue Bondi is the most famous beach in the world, because people might say, Long Beach in New York. People might say, I don't know, they might say, for example, maybe Long Beach, California. They might say San Clemente, Santa Barbara, or somewhere like that, or Malibu in California. And yeah, they are very famous. Probably people knowing it are probably more famous, but when anyone thinks of Sydney, they think of the Harbour Bridge, Opera House, and Bondi. That's all they think about, really, when they think of Sydney, and Australia actually as well. They don't really think of anything else. It's near all the job hubs. North Bondi, good luck getting a good property without someone like me doing it for you for a reasonable price. They're so expensive, the houses here. But, I mean, it's such a good area to live. You can't really go wrong here. It probably arguably is the best, most livable suburb, probably along with Manly, in the country to live in. So really, that's North Bondi, and that's basically, in my opinion, the best suburb to live in probably the country, and probably buying longer term. You look, $4.5 to $5 million gets it done in North Bondi. It's not the very top of Sydney, but it's close to.